You're listening to the Esoterics Podcast, hosted by Jo Figueres and Fioraliz and Jo.
Welcome back to the podcast, everyone.
Greetings, humans. We are very excited to be talking with you this week.
Yeah, how was your weekend?
It was the weekend was pretty uneventful. I read at New Renaissance Bookshop, which is a cool little area town. It reminds me of like a little New York burb, bustly and crowded and really colorful. But I am I've got some other things that I'm still recovering from COVID. I got it like weeks ago, and I still have that scratchy. You can sort of heal it and sniffly.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm not positive, but wow, it hangs around for a long time. It doesn't just freaking go away when you get COVID.
Yeah.
But I just got back from camping, and so I've always been a big Twilight fan of the movies. I mean, yeah, they're kooky and corny and campy, but who cares, right? It's super fun, and I love spooky dooky vampire werewolf stuff.
Yeah.
And so my friend Laura was like, "Hey, you want to go camping?" And I'm like, "Yeah, right," because I'm down. I'm down for adventures all the time. But then, a couple weeks later, I'm like, "Where are we going again?" Like I didn't care where. I was just like, "We're going camping." And she's like, "Oh, we're gonna go and like the Olympic National Forest." And I'm like, "Dude, what? We're going to Twilight Country?" She's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Oh my god!" Then I was like, "Fucking like." So geeked. I was in. So we went to Forks, we went to Port Angeles, we went to La Push, camped at this beautiful lake called Lake Crescent, which was, I didn't take enough pictures of Lake Crescent, and that lake is stunning.
Wow.
But it was fun. Honestly, Port Angeles reminds me of Astoria. In Oregon, and it was just a good time. It was a beautiful road trip, gorgeous part of the country, really nice. But I still think that the Oregon coast is more beautiful. I really do.
Yeah. I had to drive up the mountain up to Lake Arrowhead for work last week. I don't remember what day of the week it was, but I had to go up there to meet with a new client for work. And I get up, and it was foggy driving up the hill, and it wasn't a hard drive at all. And then I get up there, and just the air, oh my God, it's just so crisp
Stunning.
and beautiful. And I'm like, I just want to live and breathe this air every day. This is what I want.
Yes. Yeah, I've been feeling that a lot. I was actually telling Laura on a trip, I said, you know what? I just don't think I'm a city girl. I've lived in the city for years and years and years. And I really think that I'm not a country girl, like rural country. I'm not down for that.
Yeah.
But I am like I want like a place on a lake or with nature, nature. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I loved being up there. So I was telling Mike.
Where? What area? I know it was in the Riverside area.
It's so we drive north. It's north of Riverside, and you go up through San Bernardino, and then you take a highway up. And the first city, I believe, is called Blue Jay. It's Blue Jay, California, but it's also Lake Arrowhead, and technically it's Big Bear too. So it's
cool. Okay.
It's Big Bear Mountain, but it's Lake Arrowhead is really the town.
Okay.
I haven't really spent enough time up there.
Is it as pretty as Idlewild?
Yeah. But you've got the lake though, where you have an actual lake where Idlewild doesn't have a lake. So
no, and Idlewild is really, really pretty, but yeah, I need to have water. So
yeah,
yay.
So that might be another spot to look at, because actually the drive was much closer. It was 45 minutes from my house, to get to there. So that might be another place to host a retreat or something.
I would love that, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
I'm pretty geeked about Joshua Tree, but just California, Oregon. Actually, I met somebody at Facebook group. I joined this group, and it was just one of those hey, does anybody have any suggestions type of, women,
Mhm.
female Portland group, right? Which led to
Yes.
they had this other group called the PDX Hive. And then they
Mhm.
had this other group called PDX Woo Woo Hive or something. I'm like,
Oh.
I'm down for that, right? And then there was this
Mhm.
meetup where people are like, hey, there's a bunch of us getting together in the park. We're just going to read tarot for each other. And I was like, I'm in, because I, of course, know how to read tarot, but I really want more practice reading the minor arcana versus major, or, so and that was really fun. But I met somebody who has a retreat space in Washington, and I was telling her about our podcast and about us,
Oh.
and I'm like, hey, so I'll send you the link to the website, because it's a freaking gorgeous place. Wait until you see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just gonna take a moment here to remind everyone that we do have enrollment now open for our next retreat. This is our 2024 retreat, the Quantum Consciousness Retreat, the next level quantum practices for healers, mystics, seekers, and alchemists. And this is going to take place in Desert Hot Springs, California, adjacent to Joshua Tree National Park. This will take place on Tuesday, March 19th through Friday, March 22nd, and registration is now open. For more information and details, go to our website, esotericspodcast.com/events.
Excellent. And you have the option to make monthly payments. So if you start now, your payment is going to actually be a lot lower, and it'll be really, really, hopefully affordable.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the things that we are going to be doing at this retreat? I'm going to answer my own question. We're going to be doing learning how to cast a soul blueprint chart. We're going to be learning about quantum manifestation and visualization. We're going to learn some breath work. We're going to dive into some channeling and some dream work. Fee's going to teach us how to facilitate a healing circle. And then we'll also have 2 amazing meditations, one in the water and the other in the desert. And then a little bit of intuitive insight and some Karuna Reiki energy work thrown in there. So it's going to be a lovely, lovely 4 days.
Yes. Don't miss out. Sign up soon.
Sign up now. What else do you have going on?
Well, do we want to do announcements, or I got a story to tell you before we get into announcements?
Yeah, tell me the story. What's the story? We're down for story time.
So I'm picking my mom up from the airport last week, and I don't know why I hadn't thought to ask her. She went to a European trip, it was like a European tour with some friends a couple years ago. It was maybe 2 years ago, I think. And I had asked her, I'm like, hey, did you encounter any? Oh, this was what my question was. It was because I was watching a TikTok, and this girl who was visiting Spain from Mexico was talking about how the Spaniards were so rude to her because she spoke a different type of Spanish. She spoke, the Mexican style of Spanish, which is not Castellano that what Spaniards speak. Anyway, I was asking my mom, like, hey, when you were in Spain, were the Spaniards mean to you? And she's all, no, not really. She's like, but I did. There was a really rude lady in France. And I was like, what happened?
Yes, what happened?
I'm going to preface this by saying that I don't agree with everything my mom does. But if you cross my mom, I mean, do so at your own risk. Like, I'm
He will
protecting
cuss
you.
you the fuck out.
So I guess she went into the shop and she used the restroom. And then when she walked out, the lady was like, restroom is for customers only, in like this really rude way. And my mom goes, okay, do you have water? Let me buy some water from you. And the lady takes the water from her, she takes the water and she tosses it at her.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So then my mom takes the money and she tosses it at her.
Tit for tat, bitch.
Exactly. And then the lady has the audacity to ask her, why did you do that? And she, yeah. And so then my mom's like, take your money, you stupid bitch. And then she said there was a man who looked like he was like a Hispanic man, and he was sitting on a chair like somewhere in the back, who like he obviously worked there or something. And the whole time he's like laughing, and then he's like giving my mom the thumbs up. Because I'm sure that's not the first time this lady is
Mm-mm.
rude to people, but she
Mm-mm.
finally met someone who wasn't gonna take her shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so my mom cursed her out, and then and then one of the other people she was in the group with was like, "Okay, let's go," and, then,
Let's get
and
out
they
of here.
and they pulled her out of the store. But yeah, that was my mom in France.
Oh my God. They're mean. In Rome, some lady looked me up and down and pulled her purse closer to her. And I was
She
like,
thought you were a gypsy.
like, but she was like, I don't know, 60. I was like, bitch, I can just trip you and knock you in the mouth and take your purse.
Take your
So I
purse.
don't know what you're doing, right? 'Cause, you know, she was like, I don't know. Europeans are mean people.
Yeah. Don't expect people to be nice to you if you're rude to them first.
Mm-mm. Oh my God, I love it. But okay, but how many people actually like clap back like she did, right? Most people are just like, oh,
Right.
that
Yeah.
was so rude. And then they're like, no, she's like, oh, really? That's how
Oh,
we're going to be?
yeah. Here you go.
There you go. Back
Yeah,
at
and
you.
then and that's what I told my mom. I'm like, she's probably like that with so many people all the time, and most people probably don't say anything to her or do anything because they're like, they're caught off guard. A lot of people just aren't confrontational, all that stuff. But my mom might be 4'11", but she'll still she
God.
she carries herself like she's 6 foot tall.
Dude, I don't think there's one story, one funny story that you've told me about your mom, or just one random, everyday story that I haven't cracked up and been like, what? What? Oh my God, your mom.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
All right, let's move into announcements now.
All right, let's see. What do we got going? What do you got going on?
Oh, I just have 2 workshops coming up in the month of October, and these are both taking place at Raincross District in downtown Riverside. The first one will be October 14th, and that is the workshop for empaths. And then 10/20 will be the Connecting with Ancestors workshop. And I am considering doing the workshop for connecting with your ancestors as an online course as well. So stay tuned for that. That'll probably have like the live date, and then it'll probably also be available for download.
Nice. Very nice. I know that somebody in the community the other day asked about shadow work, doing a class on shadow work, and I actually tagged you. I think I tagged you,
Yes.
or I said, yeah, like reach out to her
Yes.
and she'll help you.
Yeah,
So
he sent me a message.
nice.
I got him the information he needed.
Nice. All right. Well, this must be the season for workshops. So I've got 2 new workshops. I'm going to open up registration next week on my website, jofigueras.com, but I'll make the announcement on both in the Esoterics community, the Esoterics page, and all of the pages on Instagram. So the first one we're going to do, we did a 2023 last year, so we're going to do a 2024 12-month tarot forecast workshop. Basically, I'm going to teach you how to calculate your 2024 personal months.
Mm-hmm.
And then pull a card for each one, giving you a really solid sort of blueprint for the coming year. I look back at mine all the time. I've done a 12-month forecast for myself. I don't know, for like the last 5 years, and I used to offer them for sale, but
Yeah.
it's
Got a
just
lot of
like,
work.
it's a lot of work, right? But I'm going to teach you how to do your own. And again, I look back at it all the time, and I'm always amazed by the accuracy.
Yeah.
It's just a great tool to have. So I'm going to find a date for that one, and that's going to be virtual.
Okay.
And then the other one is the second virtual workshop is going to dive into soul agreements, where you'll learn to calculate the pre-birth agreements between you and your closest or most challenging people, just based on your birthday alone. That's it.
Okay.
It's really fun, and it's super helpful to know why the fuck these people are in your life. And it can also give you some insight into like your soul contracts with them, which are a little bit different than your soul agreement, but the 2 work together really beautifully. And I'll explain how. So,
Okay. Wonderful.
Let's see. I've got, it looks like just one more. Custom commissions for intuitively designed jewelry are open again.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, and I have to start. What gets people interested is when I post a picture of one, and then I say this is what it was. I give everybody like a summary of why I chose the stone in this design for this person.
Yes.
Well, I don't have that because I haven't had a commission yet. So I need somebody to commission one so that I can have that and get the interest going. But
Okay.
so basically, every step of the intuitive design and fabrication process is intended to create this piece that is unique to your personal energy blueprint. And so to do that, what I do is I open up your Akashic record, but then I also pull a numerology, astrology, and human design chart, and then I explore it within the energy of the Akashic records. And that just gives me the details of your soul blueprint.
Yes. Okay.
So then I use that information to intuitively identify the crystal gemstone that's going to best enhance and strengthen your personal energy field, right? Your soul blueprint.
Mhm.
The properties of the stone are also going to sort of support your soul's purpose, your goals, your desired achievements, and everything. So,
Okay.
basically, as a result, then you've got this piece of jewelry that I send you with a cool little package. But this jewelry is like a physical manifestation of your personal energy, and it's made for just one person on this earth, you. So, and people love them. I am always like floored. People are like, "Oh my God, Joe, it's exactly what I was thinking or I wanted," or it really is an intuitive
Yeah.
process. And sometimes I'm blown away at how blown away people are. Yeah, it's cool. It makes me feel good. Like, oh, I nailed it.
Yeah.
All right. So really quickly, you get your choice of a ring or a pendant on an 18-inch sterling silver chain. You can get it at 22 or whatever. It's just going to cost a tiny bit more for, based on current metal prices.
Okay.
As far as the chain length, some people like big long chains. But it also comes with a live virtual 60-minute reading, where we go over all of your astrology, numerology, and human design.
Mhm.
I'll do a little, and you can record this reading too, so you'll have it forever. But I'll also then send you a PDF that contains like a frame-worthy sort of image of your soul blueprint, your
Uh-huh.
chart, and then it's a description of the gemstone, the materials, a description of the stone's properties, and then the best way to harness the energy. So
Okay.
if you would like to commission your own one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry, just complete the form at the on my website under the custom jewelry tab. That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm excited. I'm excited to get going on it.
Yeah. All right. What are we talking about today?
I want to have a conversation about the problems with organized religion within the realm of the Age of Aquarius. Organized religion versus spirituality.
Yes. All right. I'm here for it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So, y'all, I've never made it a secret. Fee and I have never made it a secret about how we feel about organized religion, right? When it's done right, it's connection and community and fellowship with
Yeah.
people who share similar beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Man, but at its worst, it's just literally fear-based bullshit used to control and corrupt.
It's a
Okay.
cult. Yeah.
It's so, and the other thing is it's also these people they amass this disgusting amount of money, and there are
Yeah.
zero tax responsibilities and zero responsibilities to the communities that they thrive in.
Yep.
Yep. You know who I'm talking about? You know, I'm looking at you, Joel Osteen.
I know. Yep.
You
That fucking
douchey
house. Yep.
douche and a hurricane douche. Remember, he wouldn't let people
Yep.
in. Ugh.
Yep.
So one of the reasons that I'm so anti-religion is, those of you that have been listening for a while know that I've had several past lives where I have just railed against the church. Have several religious past lives as a nun, and I've been killed by a nun and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But mostly it's my work in the Akashic records. I've just seen over and over how organized religion is a man-made construct that has absolutely nothing to do with spirituality, God, heaven, the afterlife, life between life, or any other consciousness or existence that happens outside of our human incarnation. It just doesn't. Nada, zero, zilch, nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
And so practicing spirituality, a lot of people think, oh, you're spiritual, so you must be religious. No.
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 Mm-mm. Quite the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, some of our most enlightened teachers, they never saw the inside of a temple or a church.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, most were considered heretics and non-believers, and the truth is that spiritual knowledge is really an inner experience.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago, I posted on my personal Facebook page that I would be offering an in-person reading or in-person readings at Woo PDX here in
Uh-huh.
Portland. It's a really cool little local metaphysical crystal shop.
Uh-huh.
And just to note, if you follow me on, or if we're Facebook friends on my personal page, I rarely post woo stuff on my personal page. You'll typically see jokes, memes, recipes, occasional political righteous outrage, and a rant or two about whatever grievance I may have with inanimate objects, right? Like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. But very little woo. I keep that in the esoterics community, the podcast pages, and the mystic metal and stone business page. So
Mm-hmm.
all right, anyway, so I posted a promo for readings in my stories, and I don't think I did it on purpose. I think it was a mistake. Anyway,
Yeah.
next thing I know, the husband of a high school acquaintance that I've never met
Yeah.
slithered into my DMs and shot me off a quick message. And I posted about this in the esoterics community too.
Uh-huh.
But the message said, "Stay away from the occult."
Okay. What's it to you?
Yes, friends, he doesn't know me. He never met me, and yet had the fucking audacity to try and tell me what to do. Fee, what do we say to people telling us what to do?
Don't fucking tell me what to do. What the fuck's your problem?
Right? Okay. I was gobsmacked. I was like, wait, what?
Dare you?
Oh my God. It's literally like my first inclination was to, break his godless soul in two, by going all Liam Neeson on him. Because listen, I got that Mars and Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. I was about to go in it, but I didn't. I just dismissed him with a simple, I think I said something along the lines of, your Bible tells you to stay away from that, not me, butthole. You know, I don't know. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
ugh, it's not worth it. But
Yeah.
so that's a preface to, me, this next sort of part of this, of this topic where your Bible is not my Bible.
Right. Exactly.
One sacred text is not the final word for all religions. What the? How is this not universally understood?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and this is the way I see it. Like, okay, so here's the thing. Like, throughout history, you've got monks and you've got spiritual sages, and they're all working diligently by candlelight with scroll and paper and ink and feathers and all that shit to very
Mm-hmm.
diligently and accurately document like the religious histories of their cultures, right?
Uh-huh. Right.
The histories that we know now, the things we know, they exist only because of what these people wrote, right? Monks and that stuff.
Sure.
Humans wrote every single letter, every single spiritual text that is currently in existence.
Uh-huh.
Not God.
Mm-hmm.
God did not write that. So logically, my Capricorn brain says it's simply a bunch of historians doing their jobs.
Sure. But also, I think they're interjecting their own agendas into it as well. Because there was a lot of people that wrote things that were supposed to be in the Bible, and then they either got quote unquote lost or just straight up removed.
Yes. Historians, I have zero issue with that. But like you said, the problem with sacred texts and Bibles is that men decided,
Right.
men decided upon the proper core values for their followers in an attempt to control them based on cultures, beliefs, practices. Okay.
Yep.
But dude, that was thousands of years ago. Like thousands of years ago. Fuck off. Times have changed. I am a liberated feminist woman. And I'm not really a feminist, but well, maybe I am. I don't know. So I'm not down for that.
Yeah.
So the way that I see it, and the reason that I'm so like anti-Bible, is because the Bible is nothing more than a how-to and why or else for Christians.
Yeah. But it's been weaponized too, is the
Yes.
problem. Because it would be no issue if it was like, yes, this is a book that I read and it teaches me moral lessons and whatever, and I live my life by it. And and then they would do the thing. They would do that. But the whole my problem is the proselytizing thing where they feel like they have to go and like recruit people and they have
Yep.
to like tell people about it and all all that's what I have a problem with. Like cuz I don't go around like imposing my beliefs on other people, so I just expect the same in return.
Yeah. And when people do it, it really is. It's like, wait, what? What? Like, why are you sending me a message? Somebody you never ever talked to in your life, telling me to stay away from the occult? I will sick the occult on you. Like, I will find a witch and we'll make a spell. But again, like I said, this Bible is nothing more than a how-to guide, but it's also the same for the Quran. That's the how-to for Islam. The Tripitaka, I think that's how you say it, for Buddhists, and then even honestly the Satanic Bible for Satanists, right? Like we don't believe in it, or I won't say that, but I'll say that I don't mess with that, or I'm not interested in that. But how is that any different? It's a religious
Uh-huh.
organization. It's
Yes.
not any different.
Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, the Bible is nothing more than or any Bible, any sacred text is just nothing more that it's like a guide for those who follow their teachings, and it's just filled with philosophy and dogma.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So anyway,
Yes.
so now that we've clarified that, right? Let's just talk about practicing spirituality versus religion.
Okay.
All right, so comparatively, what does that look like? So, what I found was this really cool research poll from 2016 from the Barna Group, okay? And they're just a research group, but they compared the practices of people who identified as spiritual versus those who identified as Christian and evangelical.
Okay.
And there were some things in there that really surprised me. So, first off, spiritual practitioners, 91% of spiritual practitioners spend their time in nature reflecting. 91% versus 24% Christian and 13% evangelical.
Of course.
Right. You'd think that they would need more to reflect on, or they need to clearly reflect a little bit more. Spiritual practitioners spend 60% of their time in meditation, Christians 18, and evangelicals 5.
Yeah.
Prayer. This was interesting. Spiritual practitioners actually spend 43% of their time in prayer.
Okay.
Christians are 83%, and then evangelicals are 98%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost 100% is, and what kind of prayer? Are they praying for salvation, for forgiveness?
No, I feel like their prayers are like judgments. Like, please help Sally not be gay or something fucking stupid. Like,
Sally's like, what's the problem?
leave me alone. What's it to you?
Journaling. 38% of spiritual practitioners journal. I know that that's my biggest spiritual practice is journaling, like
Yeah.
journaling, making notes and all that stuff. But only 17% of Christians journal and 16% of evangelicals journal.
Yeah. That might be helpful if they did a little bit more, because then it would create some more self-awareness.
Yeah, that's reflecting, right? Reflect a little bit more. Yoga. This isn't surprising. 37% of spiritual practitioners engage in yoga. 7% of Christians and 1% of evangelicals. And isn't yoga always included in the list of things that are evil and will send you to hell?
Yep. Yep.
You're
And
stretching.
and sometimes so is meditation.
Yeah.
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 I've seen it on those lists too.
You're freaking stretching is what you're doing. I don't get how
You're
that's
stretching
bad.
and breathing. Like, relax.
Relax. Spend some time in meditation. This one actually surprised me. So, spiritual practitioners spend 23% of their time learning about spiritual topics. They're clearly not the sevens, right? Life Path 7. Because Christians, 36% of Christians spend their time learning about spiritual topics, and then 35% of evangelicals learn about spiritual topics.
I would be interested in like seeing a list of the spiritual topics that they look at.
Exactly, the details. Like, what exactly are they learning?
Yeah, that's exactly what I would feel.
Okay, this is not surprising. Actual scripture from their sacred texts. Spiritual practitioners are 14%. 14% of spiritual practitioners actually read scripture, whereas 56% of Christian and 82% evangelicals read scriptures.
Oh, I just think that scriptures and especially the Psalms are technically spells, but that's just me.
Yeah, sit on that, people. Sit on that. They're a bunch of Christian evangelical witches, and they don't even
They don't even
acknowledge
know.
it. Mm-mm.
That's how I got kicked out of the gardening group the other day.
Right. I mean, isn't that where all of this originated from, herbs and working with the
Yes.
nature and everything?
Yep.
These people, they're clueless. They're clueless. They have no idea that they are, what's it called when you do one thing, say one thing and
A
do
hypocrite.
a hypocrite. Yep. They're hypocritical and ignorant. And then the last one that's interesting to me is spiritual practitioners. 5% of spiritual practitioners spend their time attending groups or retreats, right?
Okay.
Because you have never been to one of our retreats because there'd be a bigger number.
Mhm.
Whereas Christian and evangelicals, this is interesting. I mean, kind of Christians, 6% of Christians go to retreats, but 0% of evangelicals go to retreats. So, what do you think they're so for spirituality, maybe it's accessibility, because they can be a little bit pricey. But for Christians and evangelicals, what do you think they consider retreats are?
What was their percentage?
6% and 0%. No evangelicals spend their time attending groups or retreats.
Oh, they're too busy over there being colonizers and going to other countries, proselytizing and trying to convert the poor and
Oh,
all that shit. That's
uh,
why,
that's true. What's that called? When you go to another country to do missionary work,
quote unquote.
right? I've never been called to do that. I know that I know some good people that have been, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna go to another country. I'm gonna be having drinks on the beach. I don't know. I'm trying to dig ditches. That makes me a bad.
No, I'm all for helping people. But do you have to convert them and do you have to baptize them and do all this other shit with it? Like, why can't you just help them for the sake of helping them? Like,
Yep,
that's it.
yep. All right. So a while ago, I was scrolling through my timeline and I came across a post by this dude named Jim Palmer.
Hmm.
And he is an ex-evangelical who realized that his teachings were misguided. Right? They're not changing people's lives. So he walked away from it all.
Uh-huh.
He says, quote, I once was an evangelical megachurch pastor whose career stretched over many years. Eventually, I could no longer teach Christian doctrine with a good conscience, and realized that my teaching was not truly changing people's lives. So I walked away from the whole enchilada, he said, quote,
Yeah.
unquote. He goes on to say, and honestly, enchiladas, there isn't that much in an enchilada. There's like a corn tortilla and some meat and some, I
It's
don't
some
even understand
cheese.
why people,
It's some
right.
cheese.
It's the cheese, right. Now I'm freaking hungry. Great.
Thanks.
He goes on to say, below are 14 things that the misguided religious establishment doesn't want you to know. And of course, I was like, what? I was wrapped. He said, speaking for myself and my personal experience, I was not able to see or admit these things to myself. I truly got into ministry initially because I wanted to make a difference and help people. And I believe that about many people. I just think that they get corrupted by power and
Yeah.
money and yeah.
Yes.
He says, this is why. He says he relied upon the belief system that he learned as the proper framework to achieve this. So basically, he learned how to minister to people based on the teachings of his theology teacher,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And he said it took a lot of post-religion reflection to see the ways that his belief system was hurting people. He's like, I didn't understand this until after. So he made this list and he says, I offer this list in hopes that you might disentangle yourself from harmful beliefs and attitudes impacting your life. And I don't share this to slam or to try to, take anybody out of Christianity. I'm just saying these are some fucking amazing nuggets
Mhm.
that make you think, because it's like, dude is an ex-evangelical who's like, this is actually what's going on.
Yeah.
It's really good stuff.
Yeah, there's a whole group of people that do this or that talk about their experiences and deconstructing. It's the
Yeah.
deconstructing
Yeah.
part side of I'm sure it's probably on Instagram, but I see it a lot on TikTok. And where it's this full circle moment that happens when someone learns so much about theology that they turn into atheists. Like it's I don't know, it's incredible.
Yes, he makes a point about that, and I'm going to skip right to it just to
Okay.
because he
Okay.
says theology isn't the search for truth, but rather a defense of an already held position. He said basically theology is just apologetics, right? So it explains why a belief is true rather than seeking out the truth in and of itself. So eventually, the more people keep studying theology, they realize that all the reasoning inevitably proves the truth of the theology's bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yep.
rely on you to keep us abreast of what goes on the talk,
On
because
the TikTok.
I'm like, I'm not getting on there. All right, so 14 things the misguided religious establishment doesn't want you to know. Okay, first,
Okay.
toxic religion is rooted in fear, especially the fear of the afterlife.
Yes.
It leverages the false doctrine of hell to demand holiness, he says. The fear of God's disapproval, rejection, abandonment, and punishment is another hallmark of toxic religion.
Yeah.
Number two, clergy have no authority. Holding a leadership position or having a theological degree does not give that person special divine authority or superiority over others.
Yes.
Any of the terms that they like to use, anointed, called, chosen, pastor,
Mhm.
priest, bishop, evangelist, apostle, all that shit, they
Mhm.
don't give you authority over anything or an individual group.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
it's a bunch of people saying, I'm an authority and you got to
Mhm.
follow this or you're going to go to hell.
Yep.
I'm going to take my chances with hell, dude. Number three, we hold sacred what we are taught to hold sacred,
Yeah.
which is why what is sacred to one community is not sacred to another.
Right. And I mean, in this can be seen like you see it with is it Buddhist or is it Hindus that don't eat meat, that they don't eat beef because for them cows are holy?
I think it's Hindu.
Cattle because it's holy to them.
Okay, and if you've ever loved on a baby cow,
You wouldn't eat one
you'll
either.
they're sweet babies. They have personalities very similar to dogs, I understand.
Mm.
Number four, the stories in our sacred books aren't history, nor were they meant to be. And this touches on, historians, the point I made about historians earlier. The authors of these books weren't historians, but writers of historical fiction. They used pseudo history as their own ideas, and reading sacred texts as history, like it may give us nuggets of the
Right.
past,
Right.
but he says the real gold is seeing these stories as myth and then trying to unpack the possible meanings that they hold.
Right. Like the whole thing with Jesus fed like was it 40 people or whatever with like one fish and one piece of bread and all that like that's not possible, guys. But and that was kind of my problem with when I did go to Christian church was that because I've always not always, but I've known for a very long time that those stories are myths and they're there to teach you it's so that you like you said, so that you interpret and you get the lesson out of it, not to be taken literally. And these people were just taking the things literally. And I'm like, no, you missed the point. It's like
You
the
missed the
point was like
point.
right there, and then you just jumped right over it.
Yeah. I remember the first time when I realized, oh, I have this unnatural dislike of religion. It was I was working and I met this a new girl started, and her name was Amy, and she was just a really seriously devout Republican Catholic, and I'm like, and so I'm like, wait a minute, you just believe these things? And she just had this incredible faith, and
Hmm.
I think it's beautiful, and I respect her, and I love her for her faith, but I'm like, so you just take whatever the Bible says as complete truth and you never walk outside of it. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, fuck that.
Mm-mm. No.
But she's got incredible faith. Here's a good one. Number 5, prayer doesn't work the way you think it does. You
Ah.
can't bribe God or
Uh-huh.
change God's mind through obedience, devotion, or groveling. Prayer for the sake of salvation is bullshit. And of course, I am the one that said bullshit. That last one was me. Prayer for the sake of salvation is bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of us has done that, right? You pray for something, it's like, I swear if you just do this one thing, I swear I'll never and
Never ask for anything again until the
again.
next time that I ask for
Yeah.
never asking. I do that with spirit. I'm like, dudes, come on. Number 6, anything you claim to know about God, even the notion that there is a God, is a projection of your own beliefs.
Yes, I can see that.
What you say about God, who God is, what God cares about, who God rewards, and who God punishes says absolutely nothing about God. It says everything about you.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's not necessarily bad, right? Because some people are very holy and lovely and wonderful, but they freaking they learn that themselves, right? They didn't learn it from God. So basically, if you believe in an unconditionally loving God, you
Mhm.
probably value unconditional love in your own life, and you walk the walk, so to speak,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you believe in a God who labels people worthy, unworthy, chosen,
Mm.
not chosen, saved, and damned, then you're
Mhm.
likely to be a person who divides people into groups, right? Groups.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
those who are like you and those who are not like you.
Uh-huh.
Judgment, right? Okay, but here's the thing. These people who do that are most likely to deem their own group as the ideal group, right?
Of
Or
course. Of
the only
course.
one with the correct opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me of that movie Saved with Mandy Moore.
Yes. Oh, wasn't she a shit in that movie? Oh,
Yes.
she was awful.
Yeah, she was so good.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's
I like
exactly
it.
how she acts.
I'm the only one who's got it right.
Mhm.
I thought that was one that I highlighted, number 6. I was like, "Ooh, that's a truth bomb right there."
Yep. I have a personal story. There was this lady that I was in a it was in a sales group many, many years ago, probably 10 years ago at this point. And was the type to just always post Bible verses every single fucking day. Like she was saved because she had gone to prison at some point for selling drugs. For trafficking drugs, actually. She went to prison for like 7 years. And so when she came out, she came out and she was saved, and she was trying to be a better person and all this stuff or whatever. But yeah, every day was Bible verses, and all she would do is just talk about God and talk about religion and stuff. And it just really, like, I let it go. I would let it go because I was like, you know what, it's her journey, it's her thing. But one day she had a disagreement with me, and she was being so rude and she was being so toxic. And so I called her out and I was like, "Aren't you the person that posts Bible verses every single day? Why can't you be nicer? Why can't you be more godly?" And she was like, and like she had nothing to say, and then she
Mm-mm.
blocked me.
I mean, she blocked you. It's like I'll look at myself after I block you.
Mhm. Mhm.
What so segue or what do we call it? We're going to go down a different topic.
Tangent.
What's the difference between drug trafficking and selling drugs?
Oh, because she was crossing state lines.
Oh, so when you do that, you're trafficking. So that's why when they talk about like sex trafficking, it's because they're kidnapping women and taking them out of the country or
Across
across
state
state
lines, and
lines.
that's a federal crime versus being, whatever local jurisdiction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Oh,
was caught in an
see,
airport.
you learned something new. And she was no, God, she took drugs in an airport,
Uh-huh, into an airport. Yeah.
dude.
Don't do meth, people.
Okay, let's see. Number 7. Nobody is born a religion. Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Catholic, Protestant. People are born humans and then slowly conditioned by narratives of race, religion, gender, nationality, etc. Right?
Yeah.
Um, that one I was like, all right, well, I don't know. Like if you have a Christian mom and a Christian dad, you kind of are born Christian. But I see what he's saying, but I was like, I don't know. There,
Yeah,
yeah,
you learn the religion that your family brings you into is essentially what it is. It's not that you're born into it, it's you're brought into it.
right, right, right. Number 8 was what we talked about earlier. Theology isn't the search for truth; it's just a defense. Which is basically what a lot of religions have to do. They have to defend instead
Yeah.
of and if anybody has to defend their religion, dude, okay, there's something wrong.
Right?
All right, number 9. Here's this one's interesting. Becoming more religious cannot save us. Okay, religion is a human invention reflecting the best and worst of humanity. It really is.
Mhm. Mhm.
Becoming more religious simply allows us to perpetuate compassion and cruelty in the name of religion,
Oof.
because religion always carries the danger of radicalization, and becoming
Yes.
more religious only heightens the risk of becoming more radical in our beliefs.
Yes. That just reminds me of cult leaders, how they're like,
Mhm.
well, God told me that you have to give
Mhm.
me all your money and you have to sell all your possessions and give them to me.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes.
Oh my God.
The same goes for MAGA holes, who have adopted this whole personality based on the political affiliations and, like, untruths on Fox News. Like, you know who they are.
Uh-huh.
Basically, they're far right weirdos who use guns and the flag as both their personal truth, right? But also as decorations for their living room.
Yeah.
Like, that's a radicalized human, right? Got my guns on my living room and my
Oh my
flag. Don't tread on
God.
me.
We went to this thing, it's called the Sheriff's Rodeo yesterday because Mike got free tickets from work and it was gonna be free food. And I was like, say
Dude,
less.
let's
Free
do
food,
it.
I'm here. But
Plus horses.
it was yeah, and but it was that so all they had all the vendors, right? And they had the most ridiculous shirts. Like one of them was like a gun and then come and take it. And then another one was legalize freedom, and it was like a flag, and then there was a skull. I don't even know what was on it, but there were such stupid sayings and these things they put on shirts, and it was like, oh God, what was it? Um, God, guns, freedom, or some shit. It's like, really, really?
It's ridiculous. Trump has radicalized nonsense. He's radicalized these people
Yeah,
because of their um perceived
their fears.
injustices, fears,
It's their fears. Their
grievances,
fears, yeah, their fear of the other, their fear of someone coming to
losing
take their
power.
losing power, somebody coming to take their things. Yeah, it's fear. It's a
It's
very
fear.
fear-based, yeah.
Okay, so alternately, number 10 is becoming less religious also cannot save us. Okay. In fact, being against religion can become another form of radicalization. So, becoming less religious will simply force us to use compassion and cruelty in the name of something else. And you see this. I see this in Portland a lot. So I say, are you hearing this super far left, passive aggressive Kens and Karens? You fight for a cause for the sake of fighting instead of a sincere passion. And that's just as toxic as far right ignorance and hatred. And you see it here all
Mm,
the time in Portland. It's just angry far left people who want to, like, trash the establishment, right? So what they're
right,
doing is they're
right.
breaking fucking windows of small business owners who can't
Yeah,
afford.
that's not how you do it, yeah.
No,
That's you're
they're
not
just
achieving anything.
no.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
I see the ridiculousness in radicalization on both sides. I'm not just
Yeah,
a
the
Democrat.
extremes. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's extremes, it's extremes.
Number 11, a healthy religion is the one that helps us own and integrate the shadow side of human nature for the good of all. Okay, but here's the thing. I mean, maybe, yes, I agree with that. A healthy religion helps us own and integrate the shadow side of human nature. But the problem is that clergy are not trained to do that. They're not trained to look at, help people and to look at the shadow side. They're like, you must resist your urges to,
Right, right.
yeah, like,
Yes, or, "Oh, you did something bad, go do 30 Hail
tenants.
Marys."
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, that didn't solve anything.
No. Like you said, 30 Hail Marys, right? Because clergy are trained to promote the religion that they represent.
Mhm.
They are apologists. They're not liberators. This is what Jim Palmer says. If you want to be more just, compassionate, and loving, you must do the personal work within yourself and free yourself from the conditions that lock you into injustice and cruelty and hate. And this means you have to free yourself from all, this is me saying, you have to free yourself from all your microaggressive and subconscious bias narratives, including those that you support in the name of religion. And that's, again, we tie this back to the MAGA people. Like, that's what the problem is. They have not been taught to, you know, um, integrate the shadow side of, you know, their fears and stuff, you
There's
know,
not
so
self-awareness about their fears.
yeah, no. And we could say that for the left too, the far left.
Yeah.
Number 12, religious leaders claim that their understanding and interpretation of their sacred books should be universally accepted. My authority is the Bible. And he says it would be more accurate for them to say, my authority is what they taught me the Bible means at seminary.
Right.
Right? Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
He says people start with flawed or false assumptions about what the Bible is, such as that the Bible was meant to represent a clear study of God. That's not true.
No. Mm-mm.
That the Bible is the infallible and sole message from God to the world.
No. It can't be infallible because it was written by men, and
Thank you.
and it's inherent that there's going to be bias.
And that the Bible is a blueprint for daily living.
Yeah, no.
No, there's no sheep that we're, you know, sacrificing, tending to
on a daily basis or nothing. No, there was no cars, no internet, there's no
No.
smartphones in the Bible. No, it can't apply. It's outdated.
And that's the problem. And that's the problem with gun laws, right? Like, look, I'm not trying to take anybody's gun, but the gun laws were written way back when we were freaking pilgrims fighting
Fucking
for
bayonets.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with a little bit of regulation? You know,
Right.
the NRA is what's wrong. Bastards.
Yep.
And why? Because they're afraid of losing power.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 13, the idea of being a good Christian is tied to your church attendance, your tithing, your membership, service, participation. If that's the case, then you need to refer back to number 6, where I pointed out that you are likely someone who puts people into groups and assigns value to who are those that are like you, and takes value away from those who are not.
Yep, and that's capitalism too, is
Yes.
attendance and tithing. Yeah. And then I will remind anyone listening to this too what Dolores Cannon had to say when she spoke to Jesus, and he said that church was never meant to be a place. It was not meant to be some temple. It was supposed to be a people gathering. That's it. Just people gathering wherever to share stories with each other that would help each other and uplift each other. That was it. That was church, not a place.
Beautiful. And that is a perfect and beautiful segue into the last one, number 14. And I paraphrased this I was high one day and I read this and I was like, what? I gotta like share that with my group, our group. So what I did was, there is a post in the community about this, but this is the actual original blurb. He says, you are capable of guiding your own path from the inside out, and you don't need to be told what to do. You naturally have the ability, capacity, tools, and the skills to guide and direct your own life meaningfully, ethically, and effectively. Through the use of critical thinking, empathy, reason, conscience, and intuition, you can capably lead your own life. You have the choice to cultivate a spirituality that doesn't require you to be inadequate, powerless, weak, and lacking, but one that empowers you towards strength, vitality, and wholeness, and the fulfillment of your highest potential and possibility.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful, isn't it? It's freaking deep, too. I was like, that is deep.
Yeah.
Super deep after you've like hit the pipe. Okay, the last little section of this is, let's talk about a few falsehoods that people believe are true but are actually bullshit, which we just talked about those, but this is more fun.
Okay.
All right. All right, so the first one is this, and this one is at the top of the list and will never ever 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 not be literally the most important piece of bullshit to call out as total and complete bullshit. I'm just going to say bullshit like all the time through this. All right. And that is being gay is a sin.
Yeah, that's horseshit. It wasn't even in the Bible, or the original text was actually that men should not lay with little boys. It was about pedophilia, not about homosexuality. It was reworded or rephrased in the King James version. And then, do we want to talk about fucking King James
Yes, please.
for a second?
Yes.
Okay, so King James the First of England, he's part of this list that I found of 13 LGBTQ royals you didn't learn about in history class.
Of course.
So this guy, he was married to Anne of Denmark, but he has been thought to have relationships with several of his male courtiers.
Mhm.
So the most notable one was with George Villiers. And so in the early 2000s, when they did restoration work on the Apithorpe Palace, they revealed a secret passageway that connected James and Villiers' bedchambers.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, so actually so all I'm saying is he was just master projector, and he was just projecting his own bullshit onto everyone else when he decided to have the Bible
Okay,
rewritten.
so he rewrote the Bible. He was the head of the project to rewrite the Bible.
Yes, yeah, he commissioned the rewriting of the Bible to include that piece of that anti-homosexuality thing that people love to quote. Yeah.
Dude, shut up. That is a juicy piece of it's like ancient gossip.
Yes.
We love gossip, right? Libras.
Yeah.
That's some good gossip.
Yeah.
All right, so that was bullshit, obviously. The
Mhm.
next one is mental health, sexuality, and gender identity struggles are a sign of disobedience, sin, or a lack of faith.
No. God gave us free will. Like, if you do believe in God, then you accept that we have free will, however it was granted or whatever, but we have it. And so we have the ability to have self-awareness, we have the ability to make choices, and we can also make choices that affirm how we feel, including like if we want to have sex change, and do all that, but it's our choice.
It's our choice, and that is a tenet. It is a foundation. It is a pillar of the reincarnation um, sort of process, right? Because incarnation is experiential. So if in one life
Yeah.
we have an experience as maybe a cis straight male, in the
Mhm.
next life we're going to have the experience of a gay male. So to tie mental health, which is
No.
physiological and it's also an experience, there are plenty of people
Mhm.
that incarnate with mental health issues because
Mhm.
the soul needs to know, what is it like to have mental health issues? How do
Yeah.
you gain compassion for people if you don't know, right?
Yeah.
There are plenty of people that struggle with their sexuality and
Yes.
gender identity uh, because
Mhm.
this is the experience that their soul, the human soul, is having in order to contribute to the greater good of all, right?
Right.
Zero has to do with sin. And listen,
Yeah.
I'm about to get fucking fired up about sin because
Yes. It
that is a big thing. So it's not about sin or a lack of faith. It's not a sign of disobedience. Here's my take on sin. Okay,
Mhm.
I get so mad about this. And a falsehood is that you were born a sinner requiring forgiveness. That whole original sin bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. We were babies. God damn it, babies,
Have you met a baby?
babies are not born with something that isn't even a real thing. Sin is not. It's a human construct
Yes, it's a man-made idea. Mhm.
for the purpose of
Control.
control. Stop it. Stop it now, people. Stop using the term sin because sin is the same as using the word gobbledygook. Gobbledygook. What the hell is it? We don't know. It's
Yeah.
made up
Yeah.
bullshit, right? So
Yes.
fucking stop it. Oh, I get so mad about sin. The next one, it's okay to judge and hate people because of people of other religions because they're enemies of God.
What? I would say if your God encourages you to hate someone else, I would say you should question that. That doesn't sound right. I don't know.
Word.
Isn't it supposed to be about love? Like, I thought that's what I thought I've understood God to be. God isn't like a man. It isn't this it's just all of our souls and consciousness all put together, all making up this energetic being. That's God. And it's just love and that's it. Like there's no I don't know. That's me.
And dude, how are you an enemy of God, all knowing, all powerful? Like the only enemy that I can even imagine would be Satan. And Satan fucked around and found out, right? He's a fallen angel, and God's like, "You're out of here, buddy." But that's the only like how are you an enemy of God? You can't make an enemy of God. He loves you and forgives
Because
you
we
despite.
yeah, aren't we created in God's image? And therefore,
Yes.
if we are, then aren't we also a part of God? And so then we can't do we hate ourselves? Like, I don't that doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to touch on the concept of God, just because I'm not religious, it doesn't mean that I don't believe in God, but I don't
Yeah.
believe in some all-powerful being. I believe that God is a consciousness, that God is a creator, it's a spark. I believe in God, goddess, the universe source. I believe in
Yes.
whatever derivative of a higher power that you believe in, and whatever you call it. You could call it
Yeah.
George, it doesn't matter. But the point is that its central core is love, and
Yeah.
love is unconditional in spirit.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
God doesn't have enemies, because the minute you
Yeah.
get mad at him, he's like, I'm sorry, I forgive you, I love you.
Yeah, because that's
Like,
judgment. Yeah.
yes, it
Mhm.
is. It's fucking religion. Okay, here's one that you'll love. A godly woman is a submissive woman.
The fuck? Don't tell me what to do. What?
If that's the case, I'm a fucking heathen. A
And
heathen.
then you know what? Then no.
Mm-mm.
Get get away from me.
Alternately, out of disobedience to God, one should stay in an abusive relationship.
Oh, 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 God. And then we wonder why we have Snapped as a
Yeah.
TV show.
And Bad Girls Club.
And Bad Girls Club. And Deathbed Confessions of the
Yes.
great grandmothers that killed their first husband.
Oh my God. Or Evil Lives Here. I mean, yeah, this is just crazy. People believe this. They literally believe this stuff. And I was just like, what? Like, and we knew this, right? But just to put them in
Yes.
black and white and talk about them, it's like, dude, are you kidding me? People believe this? They do. They
I
believe it.
do. Yeah.
Let's see. Questioning what you've been told is a lack of faith, right? A lot of people in the church,
Ye
pastors like to tell them that.
I
Lack
know.
of faith if
Yeah.
you question me.
Oof. Yeah, no, I didn't do well. That's why my first and second grade in Catholic school did not go well because I questioned everything and didn't fare well for me.
No, but that's how you gained your awakening. Your awakening was about questioning,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what an awakening is. Going, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right.
Exactly.
Next one, I just have a couple more. There's like 5 or 6 more. Your heart is wicked and can't be trusted to make important decisions.
Rude. Rude.
Rude. How dare you call me wicked? I'll
What?
show you wicked.
Put your name in a jar. Freeze
The
you.
Bible can only be interpreted by somebody with a seminary degree. Well, which means it can only be
Right.
defended and explained, and right. Don't question me type of
Mm.
bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. I love that we talked about this a little bit. God gives or withholds favor and blessings based on your performance, your tithing, your, all that bullshit.
Mm.
It's bullshit.
I don't know. Maybe if God was a capitalist, maybe.
I
Oh, you didn't give enough this month. You're not getting any blessings.
Right. I think people that operate in the name of God are capitalists, like Joel Osteen.
Yeah.
Did you know that Billy Graham died?
No.
He did, and people were celebrating it. Now listen. I was reading, I was in the comments with my popcorn, but I was like, that's mean. I mean, the dude is dead, and by now
Yeah.
he realizes what a fucking douchebag he was, but I don't think people should celebrate when people die. It's mean,
Not
even
like
if you
that.
hate them.
Not like that. Like it's
Mm-mm.
one thing like if you're celebrating like your grandma's life, right? Or something like that, like that
Right.
celebration in that
Yes,
way. But
celebration
no,
of
like your
life.
celebration because you're glad they're dead, that's
Right.
just feels gross. No.
Dude, I won't even celebrate when Trump dies. I'm not gonna be sad, but I'm not gonna
But
celebrate.
I'm not
I
gonna
mean, that's just
celebrate.
wrong.
No, no.
You
Same thing with
fucking
when they killed Osama bin Laden and those people were like cheering in the
I
streets
know.
and stuff. I was like, oh, I don't know, that doesn't feel right. that just feels, just I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it.
You go through that light and you do go through your life review. They're going to show you that too. The spirit guides are going to be like,
Yeah.
and this is when you celebrated when someone died. I'll be like, oh, I forgot
Sorry.
about that. Let's see here. This one is like, what the fuck? Sending people to hell satisfies God's justice and brings him glory.
What?
Yeah. So basically, Christian God gets off on seeing people suffer. Okay. Well, sounds about right. Like, what?
That's like white Republican Jesus. I don't.
Yes. Evangelical Jesus. Yep. Let me see. Sacrificing your needs, desires, interests, and passion shows true discipleship. That's culty leaders bullshit.
That's culty. That sounds culty AF.
We don't deserve God's love.
That's it? Like
That's
that's a whole sentence?
the whole sentence. We don't deserve God's love. What?
Rude.
Right? Like, how dare you? That's basically saying you're not worthy. Well, yes,
I will have you question that. Okay, if somebody considers a God to be their father, if you were to say that about your regular dad, just about your earth dad, that you didn't deserve your dad's love, wouldn't you be like, what the fuck?
Right. Yes. It's just this shit that they believe, and I don't believe that it's intelligent people that believe this. I believe that it's people that have just been indoctrinated since day one, controlled, abused, that sort of thing.
Yes.
The last one is really simple. If you don't attend church, you are a sinner. I think you're all clear on how I feel about sinning.
Yeah.
And I don't attend church. Church is boring and judgy, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not.
To that, I say, catch me outside.
Say, catch me outside. I love it. Anyway, so that is our that's the all I have today about the problems within organized religion, specifically in the Age of Aquarius, and why we think so much of it is bullshit, because it really is.
Yeah, it's the age of waking up and questioning. Yeah, absolutely. Well, friends, that means it's time to say goodbye. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share on your stories, subscribe, and leave us a review. This helps our podcast grow. And if we grow, that means the ability to do this work grows as well.
Thank you for hanging out with us today. Stay mystical, magical, and don't let anyone tell you what to do.
Especially religious leaders. Fuck those guys.